Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. Today we're going to be kicking off our Astral Radiance deck analysis on PTCGO, starting off with what is touted to be the strongest V-Star coming out from the set, certainly one that's been taking the Japanese metagame by storm. Origin form Palkia VSTAR seems to be a very big threat in the game. And it's really just a very good overall card. It's got 280 hit points. It has the Subspace Swell attack that we're going to be using very often. For 2 water energy, you do 60 plus 20 more for each benched Pokemon. So it reads very similarly to the Rondo attacks of those legendary beasts. But rather than a 20 base, we're doing a 60 base, which really does help us knock out some V Pokemon very easily. And if the opponent is forced to go wide on their board for the engine Pokemon, we can even be reaching higher damage output into V-Star Pokemon, which is fantastic. And it also comes with the V-Star Power Star Portal, allowing you once per turn, or once during the game, I guess, you may attach 3 water energy cards from your discard pile to your water Pokemon in any way that you like. This is a fantastic means for us not being locked into Melanie as a water deck, which is already fantastic. It means we have the option for a few other things here and there, turns to boss's orders, turns to use disruptive supporters like Marnie or Roxanne, even things like Professor's Research to have a deeper dig into the deck. So this is a fantastic option already, meaning that we're not tied to a Melanie every single turn of the game, like Suicune decks are. But it also means we can power up some attackers out of nowhere, including the Radiant Greninja, which is actually a really good card for draw, but also helps as an attacking threat in the deck to set up damage on higher hit point V-Stars if the opponent's playing around your damage output, or even V-Maxes, which is great. So yeah, Star Portal, really top marks. It is weak to Lightning, and I think some people will be trying to take advantage of that, but we'll see how it goes during the format, really. Quick notes on the V, it does have a 1 energy attack cost, Rule the Region, allowing you to search for a stadium and put it directly to hand. It's not ideal, but it is something. It can allow you to search a stadium bounce, and we are fairly ability reliant with the Radiant Greninja and the Star Portal, so at least that's going for you. And Hydro Break for water colorless, again expensive, but you play Melanie, you have your Star Portal if you really need to. You can do a vanilla 200, and again Choice Belt 200, that can be knocking out some V Pokemon, even if your opponent is trying to play around their bench size, so that's also a relevant thing to note. And 220 hit points is the right number. You really want to be on that higher end of the spectrum, and this certainly is, so pretty bulky boy overall. The other new V Pokemon we're playing in the deck is Starmie V. You have 190 hit points, which is a bit lower, of course, but it does have a natural free retreat cost, which is handy if ever you happen to start this guy. It means you can get into a Sobble or just throw a 1-prize Pokemon just out there so your opponent can take that instead in those opening stages. And it carries 2 attacks. The first is Swift, which isn't too impressive. It does 50 and goes for effects, but Energy Spiral is the one we'll focus on in some key matchups. For 2 water, you do 50 times the amount of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. And as we know, Arceus loves to throw energies all over the board, so it doesn't only have its own V-Star powered up, but it's going to power up other, V-Maxes or other Arceus lying around. And if you're going to do that, you're going to instantly punish them with the Energy Spiral. And again, with Melanie in the deck and with the Star Portal, you can burst a Starmie out of nowhere and deal some really meaningful damage, and often one-hit KO Arceus players. Or just the threat of the Starmie alone means they're not getting full value from their own Trinity Nova, which is also very good for you, because it means you can try and use cards like Temple of Sinnoh plus Marnie or Roxanne to disrupt them in the mid to late game. So that's great. Let's talk about Radiant Greninja. This is everything you want it to be in the deck. It's perfect in this deck because you can utilize its ability very well. Throwing water into the discard pile is great for Melanie and your V-Star power, whilst drawing some extra cards in addition to the Inteleon engine, which is just already fantastic. But you also have the Moonlight Shuriken attack, which is one we will look for very often. So this is actually kind of the secondary attacker in the deck, really. Doing 90 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. That can be active and bench. You do have to discard 2 water, so you'll normally use this exactly 1 time during the game, but it's, very dangerous. You can knock out some supporting Pokemon that come into play, the likes of Drizzile, Sobbles, Bidoofs. That's fantastic for you. Or you can set up VMAX Pokemon, which typically you're out of their range with Subspace Swell, so setting them up is obviously good for you. And very often, naturally, because Subspace Swell does such meaningful damage when your opponent goes wide on their bench, either they're worried about putting their own Manaphy into play because it's giving you extra damage with your Palkia, or they do, and Greninja's like less helpful, but you can still deal with the Manaphy when you want to and whatnot. So it's not like a whole thing, but regardless, just by having the threat of Greninja might sometimes put Manaphys onto the board for the opponent, so you're doing naturally better damage output, is what I'm trying to get around. And if they're just trying to attack with like one Pokemon in the active position and they have like another thing that they're powering up on the bench, you can do the sort of Greninja hit active and hit the bench threat all in one go, and again you can start threatening them with Roxanne plays and whatnot. So it's been a very fantastic card so far. Basically we're playing Manaphy not just for Mirror but also for Urshifu, and we are playing a 4-3-1-1 line of the Inteleon. Quick shooting can be extremely helpful at putting some higher hit point Pokemon into range when your opponent is trying to play around with their bench size. Very good into most of the star Pokemon. And we have, of course, Shady Dealings, but Aqua Bullet is also a usable attack. We're not playing Raihan in the deck, but we do still have the Star Portal to bear in mind. So you can burst an Aqua Bullet here, and it means in one prize matchups, we have the Greninja and we have Aqua Bullet quick shooting plays available to us, which is just great overall. For trainer cards, we play a VIP pass thanks to the new supporter Irida, allowing us to search our deck for a water and an item, reveal it and put it into our hand. So with just one VIP pass and 3 Irida, we have actually pretty reasonable odds of getting that VIP pass down, which is great. You like to go wide with the deck, of course, especially if you're player 2, you will try and go for a keep calling play. So if you can go VIP pass, keep calling, you're going to go full board, which is great news, and the Irida really helps that come together. We are playing double buckets, obviously helpful for scouting our energies. We are playing 4 Cross Switcher in the deck. We are still Melanie at the core, at times, but also Irida now becomes essentially a pseudo boss's orders because it can get Drizzile plus item, which is already the Cross Switchers, or it can get you Big Inteleon plus an item, so that's a Cross Switcher plus a double deal, sometimes even more if you're grabbing net in that combo with your first Inteleon. So the Irida really lets you like go wide while still representing boss, which I think is fantastic. So I really like the Cross Switcher addition here. It means you don't need to physically play many copies of boss's orders because Irida translates in the early game as a consistency card, which boss doesn't, but in the late game, thanks to the Cross Switcher, still represents Gust, which is really big. Lots of ball search cards. You've got your nets for reloading not only your Inteleon pieces, but also the Greninja. You can pick it up, put it down, conceal cards all over again, so that's great. We are playing Path to the Peak, trying to slow down Mew. Either you can do it early with a Marnie, or you can do it late with a Roxanne, so that's pretty interesting. I do feel like our Mew matchup could be stronger, and I think increasing the path count is normally going to be the best way to do that. Temple of Sinnoh also helpful against Mew because you can turn off fusion energy and actually ping them down with quick shooting, which I think is relevant. Mew is one of the decks that finds it more difficult to deny themselves a big bench. They'll normally sit around 45 bench Pokemon, so that's going to be very helpful to you. So the Temple can help you reach numbers on their VMAXs. It also can be a bit of a minor headache to Arceus players here and there. I say extremely minor, really, because they can always Starbirth or Drizzile their way out of this, but it's something to bear in mind. And again, it's a late game play alongside a Roxanne if your opponent's trying to play around attachments. Arceus has to do weird stuff against you because their board is like kind of depleted if they're playing around your damage. If they're playing around Starmie, sometimes they're only attaching like 1 energy immediately onto the bench, and then they are relying on double turbo energy being like their next attachment, and you can do weird things with like Marnie Sinnoh or Roxanne Sinnoh, so it's okay, it's never a detriment to us, and of course we are ability line reliant again with the Palkia and the Greninja, so you always want a bounce to your own path and other people's paths, and Temple seems to fit the bill best here. And then we are playing that plethora of supporters. Melanie for Recursion, the disruptive stuff. Roxanne is another new supporter. Only live when your opponent has 3 or fewer prizes cards remaining, but you get 6 cards, they get 2. That is a big upgrade, especially when you're doing it alongside Path, to try and slow down opponents. And yeah, then we have Belts and Water Energy. So it's not too crazy. There are more things. Let's just go back to this. There are more things you could certainly be playing. I've enjoyed the Irida engine so far, but it's not necessarily mandatory. If Irida and Cross Switchers come out of the list, you could go to like higher Melanie / Raihan count, higher boss count, maybe getting some spaces for like ropes and whatnot in those opening stages where they're maybe that little bit more live. There are some other water Pokemon you may want to attack with just because of Star Portal, so something to look at there if you really want to. And what else is there? There's cards like Echoing Horn, there's Cheryl you could be playing in the deck. There's Big Charm as well to lean into the higher hit points, just like we see with Arceus right now. there's a whole heap of things you can be playing with the deck, and I would imagine that Arceus is going to adapt to the format. I think it's very similar to the Arc Intel shell, just blue basically, but has a bit of space to play around with. So I imagine will be a big factor in the format. I'm really backing it. I think it's strong. So let's get some games in with the deck and see how it goes. Even though we have that keep calling option, I do still prioritize going first as we get a mulligan here. But yeah, going second, having the high Irida count and a really high ball search count means that we have a pretty healthy amount of cards to get us into the game. Looks like our start isn't great in terms of support Pokemon. But the one-off VIP pass comes through. That is content right there. So I'm going to go Greninja here, as well as the Sobble. We are against an Arceus, so we're going to keep an eye on the Temple. We don't have the random path that we can cheese them with. We do have both belts. We have all 4 cross switches. We do have the Starmie. Okay. Let's see a couple cards. Alright, that's looking good for next turn. Pretty confident I can attach active here. And just pass. The VIP. What a treat. Just for you guys. Wouldn't have happened if I wasn't streaming right now. So, Palkia on his own represents 190 damage, because I can go full bench plus choice belt all the way up to 190. So if Arceus wants to stay out of range here, they should only bench 1 Pokemon if they're playing as strictly as possible. But it's not always easy for decks to do that. And even if I do just hit the 190 threshold, 190 is a great number to hit, because then it sets up Moonlight Shuriken. So they are going to be disciplined with their Arceus deck. Now, it's times like this where I really would like to have the path, because they don't have any Drizzile or BDIF down. So if you just path them now and deny them Starbirth, they could just lose on the spot, realistically. They didn't play a draw supporter, they discarded an Incense, so they're certainly representing V-Star in hand, right? There's no doubt about that. The Bucket's a really good draw here, it's going to open up the hand even further. We are able to take a KO with Starmie as well here if we really want to. That's the other way we can piece together a KO. It would have to be to the bench, though, with cross switches to move our Palkia out the way, but it's possible. And ultimately, it's not a bad choice. I like evolving both of our dudes. How do I like Star Portal KO with Starmie here? I think it's okay. I guess I do it with Quick Ball now. Quick Ball away the water, because I can get it for free. And then I Irida for Cross Switcher plus Sobble. Yeah. So I do this. Make the Starmie. Let's go Irida for Cross Switcher Sobble. And they just concede. Okay. Bye, Arceus. Bye. Okay. Let's get another game in, but not before talking about the lovely Potown store. They should have Astral Radiance codes on there as well as all the other standard stuff. I think they're getting a new wave of Astral stuff from Friday onwards, so if it's tricky right now, head back on Friday and it should all be good. But yeah, great place to get your PTCGO codes. You can use that code Omnipoke for 5% off of your order at checkout. Let's get into another game with Palkia. That was a pretty strong opening. Really made possible by the VIP pass, let's be real. But it's why we play the card, so... And that was a pretty commanding going first play against Arceus. Represented a pretty good board and deny them their bench. It's always rough for them. Looks like we're going second into Arceus this time around. It's going to be a Gyarados list, so I would assume they're going to be playing Memory Capsule Jolteon as well here. Our hand is horrific. We do have a lot of decent draws, though, so we'll see. That is not one of those good draws. The good news about this matchup is they typically do not play Belt Zig as a combo. So the size of Palkia may be seeing us through here. It's just that we are in top deck mode that little bit. We will thin a card from the deck. I'll take a bounce to Path just in case I want to retreat Star Portal and have any actual plays. Let's see what the opponent's working with. I wouldn't hate a Marnie if that's where they're at. They have Melanie by the looks of things. Let's see the V-STAR. So, Jolteon does shut down Star Portal as well. It's a bit of a shame. Okay, that's just bad draws. I mean, what can you do? We will concede. We play a higher than average amount of supporters in a Inteleon list, so that's just a bad beat. There's not much you can say about that. For early game supporters, we play Research Marnie, double Melanie, which are like half good early game supporters, triple Irida. Our early ball searches, 1 Ultra, 4 Quick, 3 Level, and VIP Pass, so that's a healthy number. Just one of those anomalous hands, really. Greninja, always a good draw. Any Sobble, obviously, better draws than the Drizziles. So we'll write it off as bad variance. Hand doesn't look fantastic just yet, but we are going first, and I have the option to bucket Greninja as well. And looks like we're up against a Gengar VMAX. Sobble's an excellent draw. They are Houndour active, huh? I think Roxanne can go here. That's the best discard in the hand right now. And let's open up our drawers. Greninja's such a crazy card, it's great to develop it ASAP. There's a counter stadium to their initial path, which is going to be good. Gives us a supporter for turn 2. Now, do I want to represent the double customs next turn? I could attach to the bench. That represents it best. I think I will. Regardless, I can Star Portal back to the active if I feel relevant. If I feel that it's relevant. Opponent is going to be VIP Gaming. We do see the Marnie path, which is a little bit stronger than just the path. Our hand was really well set to be trying to go for a Gust KO. Now it is far less capable. So we're going to go Irida here. So it opens up Temple, but am I just not attacking this turn? I guess I'm just not attacking this turn. I could just go Level Ball, Sobble. Yeah, I guess I'm just going here. There's no way that I formulate an attack this turn, right? Because even off the portal, I'd only be getting 1 energy, and I need to move. So I think we just build our board up. Seems reasonable. Okay. We do see Houndoom Bibarel. Alright, you can see a research. See a Hiding Darkness, which is a bit strange. Very strange. Yeah, I don't really know what they were doing there, to be honest with you. That seemed sus. Very sus. They really shouldn't have attacked us there. Let's get another game in. Looks like we'll be going second here. Whenever you go second, you'll love to see an Irida. She's a fantastic going second card in the deck. Looks like we're going to be up against a Sylveon toolbox, so the Manaphy might be pretty strong here as well. Bucket's a big draw for us as well. Alright, they're VIP Gaming. You have to imagine there's going to be probably Arceus Remoraid here. No, Urshiark. Okay. So we don't necessarily hit for weakness here, but our opponent is going wide Peepo bench, which is really good news for us. It is a Sylveon deck, of course, so this is an archetype that really can't afford to not go wide on the board. But it's going to end on the gift for the incense. Seems about right. More buckets. Okay. So, VIP pass is here. We did prize our Radiant Greninja, and I'm not playing Hisuian Heavy Ball, so that's just a shame. But we can live with it. I'm going to go Drizzile VIP. Bench these chaps. Grab these chaps. I could keep calling, but it locks me into a V-Star power basically next turn, so I think I'm more happy doing this. And looks like they're seeing Arceus for the first time. Not Arceus, Palkia for the first time. Looks like they had an excellent hand. This is all before their Evolution Incense. We're going to see the Sylveon VMAX come out as well. So, unless there's some Melanie shenanigans, I don't think we're going to get attacked this turn. Outside of a Gale Thrust. Gale Thrust would be pretty solid here. Let's see if it's possible. I mean, with Starbirth, it's pretty possible. Melanie's also pretty possible with Starbirth. But they're grabbing Karina, so they're probably going to they're going to Karina and Starbirth for like pivot option plus Rapid Strike Energy. Seems okay to me. They initiate the race. Ah, so they are going for Manaphy. Maybe. Possibly. Yes, they are. Oh, they didn't get an attack off. Well, well, well. That's probably going to be a problem for him, if I had to guess. Feels like going full bench is a bad idea against Palkia, just saying. take a couple prizes. Greninja's a fantastic one to pick up. Because now my prize map could very much be hit one of these VMAXs and then try and Greninja the Octillery into VMAX for game. So I could be 2 attacks away from winning here. We did research away one of our bosses. Sylveon's normally a deck that doesn't play the Manaphy though, because it's a conflicting water type with Octillery. So we'll see how they want to play this. Or if they're just done. They may just be donezo at this point. I'm surprised they didn't come in with the Urshifu. Maybe they prized Tower of Waters and that was their issue. Because they could easily have Starburst for DTE, not DTE, what am I saying? Rapid Strike Energy plus Tower. That was certainly a play for them. So we'll see. Definitely eyeing things up. They may be running down the clock, which is just a thing, I guess, if you're salty at an online game, you know. Things happen. Sometimes we're not very mature about these things. But in this spot, like, what's his best turn? His best turn is, like, Max Harmony for an amount of damage, I guess. Maybe you could argue that gusting up the Manaphy and taking a KO is one of their best plays possible. It would have to be with a Gale Thrust. But I'm always 2 attacks away from winning here if I'm allowed to weave in Radiant Greninja. Yeah, they're basically just conceding, right? Let's do this. Do I like Melanie? No, not really. I prefer this. We're just accumulating resources at this point. Seems like a pretty robust hand. And they're probably just going to continue doing what they did last time and just run the clock down. But it's fine, because I'm on a video, and I want to talk to you guys, and time's on our side. Plus, I'm never going to let a baby, like, get away with being babyish, especially when I'm recording it, because now we know this guy, yeah? Exactly. Tragic. Why waste 2 people's time when you have the choice of wasting no people's time? That's my question. Especially when one of those 2 peoples is yourself. You know? Let's get one more game of a Palkia, because I'm enjoying myself. And let's see what we're up against. We have a mulligan. We are going second, so again, cards like Irida are going to be greats for us in those opening stages. How about the Raw VIP Pass plus Irida? Pog. Very good. Looks like we're up against a fellow Inteleon engine. Interesting. Okay, people out here conceding. Probably an Arceus deck that missed turn on Arceus and was salty that we VIP passed them. That would be my best guess. So, I keep saying the phrase, but let's get one more game in. So as you can see, like the way we've built this for going second, Irida is our best friend. And the Cross Switchers convert the card into also being good going on into the late game because they just become Gust. This opening is a little on the weaker side. We are missing our 6 early game Bull Search and all 4 Palkias. I'm joking. We have one of them. Our hand is still horrific though, so let's pull some bad cards out and improve our top decks. Mew is one of the decks I want to play against most actually, because I feel it probably is a little bit more vulnerable than Arceus, Dark Arceus certainly, and we play less Marnies and less Paths than Arceus in general. So we play a much more tempo-based game plan against Mew, I think, which is probably more volatile. Like, you normally need to have better hands, I think, if you're going to race a Mew, because Mew draws more cards than you, almost always. They crammed away the Ultra because they had the Quick. Very sneaky, I see you. They're going to get systeming up. We do see the Sparkle. And the attach. Please no catches. Hoi. Double switch down. We're going to have one more lucky dip with Genesect. Alright, okay. Top decks, be good to us. That is the opposite of what I was hoping for. Let's find a path and hope we can Roxanne path our way back into this game. In standard format right now, if we were any other deck having a start as slow as this, you would just insta-scoop, right? But because of the secret methodology of Roxanne Path, there's still an argument to continue here. They have cycled through their deck pretty well here, though. That's a lot of their discards. They've discarded no stadiums or anything of the sort, though, which is a shame. They've been able to get all their pocket monsters out. They haven't burned a single power tablet yet, either. It's kinda yucky. There's one being burnt because they have no more fusion energy. Well, they require it for the damage. Okay, one more chance. Well, a couple more chances. We can draw at least 4 cards here, because I have the net. Okay. Roxanne Path it is. Would I like this to be a Sobble? Or do I trust the 6 cards that I'm about to draw? I'd quite like it to be a Starmie, actually, because then I can Cross Switcher Pass with the Genesect active. Yeah, okay. Give me time. So, hitting, hoping that they don't have access to fusion energy or enough damage mods, double damage mod. Passing doesn't make any sense, right? Okay. In an ideal world there, we could have Star Portaled before the path came down. But it is what it is. Well, Roxanne Path's a lie, confirmed. They've got rid of 2 switch and a rope now. Only 1 DTE gone. Throwing a catcher out there because they can't KO the active. They're down a boss and 2 catchers, as well as 3 switching cards. So we're going to go boss, Greninja, hit these, and hope for the best. I think that's the play. Do I have my other Cross Switcher in deck? Yeah, I do. Okay. I want an extra basic to play around rope from them as well. So we'll use Greninja to draw some cards first. That's some basics, alright. guess is the best one in case I do actually get roped. I guess I hit this one because it's hard of him to get a leap KO if I do it like that way round. So, I'm imagining they have one double turbo as a pivot option now. Echoing Horn really doesn't matter at this point, so we already have Starmie. I'm doing it as a -1. Uh-oh. So they're digging towards the DTE, huh? Training court changes nothing. Still 2 more cards. Ah, they got there. Well, for how well they did off the Roxanne path, I mean, it's... If we were able to have done the Greninja play whilst trapping the Genesect with a Roxanne path, I feel like we would have been pretty set, but... Yeah, I feel like second path is going to be important, actually, the more I think about this, because... If at first you don't succeed, you try again, right? And it means that we get to play Marnie path and Roxanne path in the same game, rather than pick one of the two. So I think I might have to work a second path into this list to improve that Mew matchup. But I need to playtest it more, honestly. Our opening was very slow. We just had like the one Palkia down right and stuff, so we'll review that and see how things go. But yeah, I think Palkia is pretty solid. And like I said at the start, maybe a bit more volatile because we're not playing a dark package, but... Hopefully Roxanne path works a bit more often than it did today. Let me know what you guys think about the deck list. What do you think about Irida Cross Switcher compared to Boss and just like more Melanies and Raihans and that sort of thing? What do you think about Palkia overall? Is he going to be the overlord that he is in Japan, or is it overhyped? I'll hear your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in another video tomorrow. Cheers.